Greetings. This is Paul the Poke from PaulthePoke.com. Today's topic, red heifer update. Colombia, September 2020, Hebrew month, Tishri, year 5781. So, Dateline, Colombia, undisclosed location, September 2020. So, an ultra-Orthodox Jewish student is living in Colombia. And this young man is out minding his own business and spotted a red heifer candidate. So he takes a picture of the heifer, sent it to the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. Upon further review, the Temple Institute authorized purchase of said red heifer. Apparently, a significant portion of pesos was paid for this red heifer. So if you want to break down further news of this red heifer, you can go to Israel365news.com. A red heifer was accidentally discovered in Colombia. Watch. So, doing what everybody does in this day and age, let's take this to Twitter. Give you a little action photo of the red heifer. And a yeshiva student spotted a red heifer in Colombia and spent a bundle to purchase it. So here's our red heifer. This is about 34 seconds long. Now, apparently, he took some up close and personal photos of this red heifer. Didn't see any discolored hairs because, one or two would disqualify said red heifer from being a red heifer. So they were checking it out. You can bet your bottom dollar, shekel, peso, whatever currency we want to talk about, somebody from Jerusalem has hopped on a plane, who knows what to look for, and is checking this red heifer out. And according to Jewish tradition, historically, there have been 9 perfect red heifers. The 10th perfect red heifer is to coincide with the advent of the Messiah and the Third Temple. So they're serious about this. And if you want to check out some of their video productions, go to www.templeinstitute.org. And they have a Facebook page. They have videos on YouTube. All kinds of red heifer information. You can also go to my website. I created a link with PaulthePoke.com, keywords red heifer. Search that up, and we got articles going back, I believe, to 2014 on various potential red heifer sightings. So, now I know many of you folks who follow this, you're going to be like, oh gosh, you're going to go over this again. For those of you who are new to the website, we do have the qualifications of the red heifer per the Bible in Numbers 19, verses 1 and 2. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, that they bring you an unblemished red heifer, in which no defect, and on which a yoke has never been placed. So they're going to sacrifice said red heifer one of these days. And the ashes from this sacrifice of the red heifer are necessary for purification prior to the building of the temple, and specifically the third temple. Now, interpretation of these verses is provided by the Temple Institute. And this is the criteria used for the identification of the red heifer. And take a red heifer. Since the verse instructs us to take a heifer, we do not purchase a calf and wait for it to grow older while in our custody. Quote, and take a red heifer means that the act of acquisition has to take place while the animal is a heifer. However, if a red calf is available, a price can be set with its owner, and the transaction can be concluded. But we do not take possession until it reaches the proper age as mandated by the Bible, which it doesn't. The Bible, Numbers 19, doesn't list a specific age. That's an oral tradition. So, when does a heifer become a heifer? Well, 3 or 4, roughly. So, an unblemished red heifer, in which is no defect. This means that the presence of as few as 2 hairs of any color will render it invalid. Even its hooves must be red. It must also be totally free from any physical blemish or defect, whether internal or external. A list of blemishes that would disqualify the animal for the sacrifice are noted in Leviticus 22. So they will check out Leviticus 22 and see if this heifer has any of these issues. And if it does, it's not a red heifer, not a pure one. On which a yoke has never been placed, the red heifer must be or must have never been used to perform any physical labor. This would include riding or even leaning on her. But if a yoke were placed upon her even once, even if she were not used to plow, this would be enough to render the heifer unfit for use. So again, 3 to 4 years of age is an oral tradition that has been passed down through the generations. It's not located in the Bible. So everybody's like, well, what does the red heifer have to do with any of this? And it's like, and it's a symbol. And now it has purposes relative to the purification of the people prior to the building of the third temple. And then I get this all the time. Well, we don't need a temple because we have Jesus. And yes, that's true. But that temple is also prophetic and it's got to be built. Jesus himself said so. So I hear you. I understand you. We don't need a temple. The Spirit is indwelled in us as believers, as our tent. And that is sufficient. We are marked. We are sealed with the Spirit. We are the temple. Okay, I get it. But that temple is prophetic and it has to be built. And it will be built before these things come to pass and Jesus comes again. So, which brings us to the innocent shed blood of Jesus Christ. So connect the blood to the pure red heifer. The blood of Jesus Christ on the cross is the fulfillment of forgiveness and the release from sin. Look at Hebrews 9, verse 22. And according to the law, one may almost say all things are cleansed with blood, and without shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. As the red heifer was and will be again sacrificed outside the city limits of Jerusalem, so was Jesus Christ. And I think this red heifer is probably said to be, if I was guessing, on the Mount of Olives. I think I've heard some discussion about that. I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't run to it. Well, I heard Paul say, no, that's not the point. It will be outside the city limits of Jerusalem. And as the sacrifice of the red heifer is for the purification and consecration of the people of Israel, so was and is Jesus Christ. Hebrews 13, verse 12, therefore Jesus also, that he might sanctify the people through his own blood, suffered outside the gate. So there's the imagery, drawing the connection from the author of Hebrews. Christ's sacrifice is not only for the people of Israel, but for all the people of the world, just as the temple will be for all the people of the world. The Sanhedrin, the Temple Institute, they want to build the temple for the nations of the world as a light unto the world. Well, Jesus is the same way. His sacrifice is for all the people of the world, Jew and Gentile. He is the sacrifice for all sin for all time. 1 John 1, verse 7. But if we walk in the light as he himself is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all sin. So, who knows? And I know they're trying really hard over there in Israel, and they've got an undisclosed farm where they're trying to genetically grow some red heifers, and they have one. I'd recommend checking out this link as well. Under this is the most recent. I think they had something a couple of months ago where they had a couple of candidates for red heifers, they being the Temple Institute, and they've been very quiet. One had a couple of 3 hairs that needed to be just a darker shade of red. Hadn't quite gotten there yet, and they've been very, very quiet. So, if we include this heifer in Colombia, and then the 2 that they're watching in Israel, we have 3 candidates right now, and another one's been born. So we have 4 on the books we're looking at. Getting close. It just takes 1. Allegedly, there's only been 10 throughout the course of history. So If you enjoy these things, it's at PaulthePoke.com. Please feel free to share with others. Click on the blue bar. Sometimes there's a gray box. Type in your email address. Sends you a notification every time we put something out. And this is going to be categorized under Paul the Poke Prophecy Trend Update. And check it out. See what you think. I'm watching the red heifer. Love the red heifer news. Very interesting. So, old farm boy from Oklahoma. So I've seen him. Not a pure red heifer, but I've seen red heifers nonetheless. Used to work with them. So, and anyhow, y'all have a great evening. Take care. Bye.